Hi, my name is Cindy, and here I'm with the...
Hi, my name is Lina, and we're both students at Jantchoulab in Xindy Hospital.
So here we are at San Diego at Digestive Disease Week, and we're presenting our project on the factors associated with the levels of physical activity in adolescents with inflammatory bowel diseases. So a little bit of the background to start with. So a lot of researchers have shown that physical activity have a lot of benefits on IBD, and the higher level of physical activity has been associated with reduction in inflammatory serum markers such as C-reactive protein. However, in children with IBD, we found that a lot of them don't do as much as exercise as the rest of the healthy Canadian children. In a previous study, also done at Xindy, we looked into the prevalence of moderate to vigorous activity in children with IBD, and we found that only 32.69% of the IBD children reached the 60 minutes target of moderate to vigorous physical activity that was recommended by the Canadian 24-hour movement guidelines, as compared to over 35% in healthy Canadian children. So we know that physical activity is really good to control the inflammation and to control IBD, but we also know that adolescents with IBD don't do enough exercise. So the question is why, and what are the factors that might have an influence? This leads to the aims of our study. So the primary aim was to investigate the clinical and familial factors that might influence the physical activity level in IBD adolescents. For the methods, we looked into adolescents with IBD aged above 12 years old. So when they come to our outpatient visit at Xindy, we give them one survey that's called the Canadian Health Measures Survey, which evaluates the physical activity level. So the responses are recorded and were transferred into metabolic equivalent of tasks, MET. A MET from 3 to 6 equals moderately active, and a MET above 6 is vigorously active. And here are the results.
So we included 138 patients. Of course, most of our patients were Crohn's disease. And for the mean age, it was around 15.5 years old, so only a pediatric population, of course. And for the analysis, we compared the clinical and familial factors between both groups of adolescents, so the group who actually reached the moderate to vigorous physical activity level and the ones that didn't reach the target, so the group that was less active. For our results, we included the disease activity because we thought that maybe if the disease was more active, then the patient would be less active. So we had 54% of our patients that were in remission, the majority, and 41% that have an active disease. It was determined by using the PCD-AI and the PUCI score. So for the most important results, we found out that 67% of our cohort was sedentary, and on the contrary, only 23.9% did moderate to vigorous physical activity. None of the following factors, such as the disease phenotype, abdominal pain, arthritis, arthralgia, anemia, the age at diagnosis or age at visit, were associated with the level of physical activity in our case. And we also didn't find any association between the parent's BMI and the child's physical activity level. So the mean BMI, here we can see also the mean BMI for active and sedentary groups. We didn't find a big difference between the two groups. So the mean BMI for the active group was 21 and the mean BMI for the sedentary group was 21.8. Maybe if we waited a little more to see when they get older, we would have a bigger difference, but at that time we found that the difference was not very significant.
So for the conclusion, our study showed no association between clinical and family factors and the physical activity level in adolescents with IBD. So the result is that regardless of their disease phenotype, all children with IBD should receive the same recommendation from their health providers in order to enhance their physical activity level. The study is still ongoing. Eventually, we'll analyze other socioeconomic factors and other potential influence factors. So eventually the goal is to assess the factors that are associated with lower level of physical activity so they can become the target of intervention study, and eventually the study can help to implement strategies in order to help them enhance their physical activity level, to better control their inflammation, their disease activity, and to eventually reach a better quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you.